I am so excited to introduce you to this guest on this show. Her name is Lydia. She's a badass. She goes by the no BS, no fluff, limitless coach. Her business is Limitless with Lydia. She helps high achieving women like me, like you, activate a limitless life and achieve extraordinary results. She gets raw, she gets real, she is vulnerable on this show. And I just always appreciate a powerhouse woman being able to soften up and tell us some of the untold stories. You're gonna love this one. Lydia, welcome to the show. I'm so excited you are here. I've been really looking forward to talking with you. I've been watching your content. You are such a force. I love what you stand for, and I'm really excited for you to bring your mission to light on Chit Chat with Chan. So without further ado, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Chandler. It's an honor. I was so looking forward to this chat, so I'm really excited to be here.
Yay. Well, I have a lot of questions to ask you about your business, about the way that you live your life. I know you're a mom, but first, before we dive into all the juice, tell us what you do, why you do it, whatever you feel like your intro is, like just give it to us.
Yeah. So first, I'm going to start off with who I am. So I'm a lifelong student, a creative soul, and a woman with magnetic energy. And the reason I say this is one of my mentors taught me this a while back. Always remember who the F you are. I don't know if we can swear or not, but
you can swear away.
I'll keep it limited.
It's okay. I have a potty mouth.
Censorship or something.
Yeah, no, I definitely have a potty mouth, and my stepdad and my mom watch these, so sometimes I try to monitor them. But you know what? Just say fuck if you want to.
Yeah. Okay. So, and often we introduce ourselves when people say, "Tell me more about yourself. What do you do?" with our profession. But if you think about it, it's who you are allows you to do the job, to run the business. It's who you are, right? Yep. So then I was like, oh my God, I am this. Yeah. That's why that allows me to be that and live the life I live. But how my career started early on, or maybe I'll just start with what I do and I'll take it back.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so right now I'm known as the no BS, no fluff, limitless coach.
Ooh.
Yeah, and using my signature Limitless Tigress methodology, I empower high-achieving women to lead with unstoppable confidence, total clarity, and time freedom without burnout, without running themselves to the ground, achieving their success. Yeah, so that's what I do.
What your methodology is called again? What is it called?
Limitless Tigress.
Limitless Tigress. Okay, we're going to get into that later on, but I just wanted to make sure that was clear and heard because that's a beautiful title and I don't want it to be missed. So
thank you.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, but how my journey started is I worked for a very well-known corporation in Canada. And then after 12 years, just before Christmas on December 2018, I got laid off. And the worst thing is I was actually going through a divorce at the exact same time and nobody knew about that. And, I was in a leadership role, had to keep my shit together, right? Like have that mask on. But so this life experience really shook me. It shook my world. But at the same time, it really grounded me. It allowed me to pause because I feel like the world is so busy. We're just always on the go. And this was like, no, sit down right now and reflect. So after facing some hard truths and having that self-reflection, I realized that I held back so much actually. That's why I started with who I am, that I forgot who I was. And even though on the outside, everything looked beautiful and successful and I was stacking achievements, I wasn't playing all out. It wasn't limitless, you know?
Yeah.
So what ended up happening after all of that and personal development, working with top mentors, I decided to start my own business in the most uncertain time, right after COVID in 2020. So I launched Limitless with Lydia, my coaching business, and everyone thought I was nuts. They're like, you don't know what's going to happen, get a job, do this. And I was like, no, I'm tired of layoffs because I got laid off from another job because of COVID. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this. I know what I want. I know what I'm capable of, so I'm going for it. And then I launched that and I had this deep conviction. That's the key. Like, you gotta believe in yourself. Clap when nobody's clapping. And it's not easy. Let me tell you, it's not easy. You got to get uncomfortable. You got to put in the work. But the word is like, there's no words for it, right?
Yeah.
So then what ended up happening, I just like zoned in, laser focused. And I got published in a book as an author within a 6-month period as well. I know, with one of my mentors, I was like, what? Because I was writing my own book. And I was like, wow, this is such significant achievements in a short period. Like launching your own business. It launched, got published as an author. Shortly after that, I met the love of my life.
Aww.
Then I gave birth to my baby boy, my genius son, Luca. And I was like, wow, you know, when you sit back and realize this was all in a short period of time. But what was the difference from Lydia before and now? I knew who the fuck I am. I knew what I wanted. And I didn't allow the external noise. I call it like the chihuahua, like, bah, 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 bah. I just turned down the noise and I zoned in knowing what I can do, that I'm going to lead by example, that I'm going to do this. And you know, often as high achieving women, I see us holding back a lot. We hold back to overthinking. The fear of what ifs, which was the biggest one for me. And then we start comparing ourselves to those ahead of us. But that's actually what slows down your momentum. That's what kills your vibe. That's what kills your in the zone, your unique genius, right?
Yep.
And I realized it's who you are, right? And aligned action. So those two, it's not just who you are and positive thinking. You got to align it with aligned action, focus.
Yep.
But we end up adding more and more thinking, that more strategy, adding more on our plate, doing more like we're not weak, we're strong. You can do it all. But if you really want to accelerate your momentum, you got to focus on the things that matter. And that's what I did. Because so many people after asked me like, how did you get published? How did your business like blow off? And I was like, I don't know. In that moment, I was just doing it in the zone. Like I didn't even think about it. You know, I was just doing and going. So that's where we are. And that's why I was like, I had so many breakthroughs. And my mission is that limitless movement with my limitless tigress method, right?
Okay, yeah,
It's
I'm
like-
obsessed. This is
Yeah.
some powerful shit. So I want to ask you for the woman that's listening to you right now,
Yeah.
and she's thinking to herself, I have a business.
Yeah.
I'm also a mother, and I'm single, but I can't go all in on my business because I also work a 9-to-5 that takes a lot of my time and energy, and I'm afraid to move without proof that I can be as successful as you. How would you coach her?
You got to be it first. So you lead with your own actions. And what I see often is, for example, in that scenario, that's a beautiful example, is you're like, oh, I got to quit my job. No, because you got to do what you got to do without seeking that external validation or opinion of others, family included. I love family and everything, but you really got to know what you want. And you got to break it down in baby steps, okay? It's those small wins that accelerate your growth. They accumulate to the bigger end result. But so often we're like, no, I got this, and if I don't, we beat ourselves up like with a hammer. Like, no, this is not good enough. I need more time. Stop it. So stop that negative self-talk. Stop overthinking. Make moves. And I always say, learn along the way. There's only two options. You win or you get wiser. Really. Like our mind makes it up to be more than it is. So I would tell her, keep your job. Don't quit your job. And, do it part-time. And especially when you have a child, it's not easy. I'm going to share that. You got to create systems, but you got to fill your cup first.
Yep.
And I had to learn that the hard way too. It's like you can't. And people say it so often, but we don't. We're like, I gotta be there for my kid, family, husband. No, but if you're empty, how can you really serve?
Yeah.
So that's...
If you wouldn't have been laid off and thus would have never built the movement that you have now, if you would have kept that job, where do you think you'd be right now?
At that job at another promotion, most likely.
So
And
you
you
were
know what?
climbing a corporate ladder.
Yeah, it's like, and that's what's interesting, because at that time, that was my rock bottom. I thought my whole world fell apart, like personal, professional, just shattered right in front of me at the same time. And then, when I got my package and everything, I was like, this is like a reset. Like, it's like, Lydia, here's a fresh start. You know, it's a great corporation, you know, and they took care of me. I got the money and everything. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to just rush like some of my colleagues, and, you know, to each their own. But I decided for me, I really need that deep self-reflection. And it wasn't easy because I realized I settled. And that's so hard to face because you're this winner, you're achieving, and you're like, no, actually, you didn't have confidence. Actually, you didn't speak up.
Yeah.
So
so you're in Toronto, Canada.
yes.
Where did you grow up, and how did you grow up so that you became, number one, a person who wanted to be successful in corporate? Because let's not downplay that is also a bad bitch. Like that is, you know, that takes a lot.
Yeah.
But then you also leveled up again and you started your own business. So can you tell us about your upbringing and where you grew up and what that looked like?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Vancouver, British Columbia, actually the West Coast, but I met my husband here. So, but originally I'm from Bosnia and Herzegovina. So Banja Luka, if for those of listening that know Eastern Europe. So I came to Canada when I was 12 with my mom, single mom. So she raised me. So I always watched my mom work really hard, and you know, I'm gonna tear up now.
Yeah.
Work hard, and you know, I had the life, I had everything. She provided for me, but it was so hard because a lot of times I just wish we could have spent. That's why I have Limitless. That freedom is key, right? So it's like when you watch your mom work so hard, learn English, do all these things, finish for a career, help the elderly. You know, it's not easy, but you see her push through. So I always had that work ethic, integrity. Like she always told me, be who you are, don't ever settle, and all those things. But I feel like the noise takes over because we're all born free. Like if you look at a child, they're just like, woo, they just run around, they dance like nobody's watching, they don't care. And as adults, I feel like we wear this invisible mask, and that's what I was doing. That's the hard truth I had to face. And some people just don't want to. They want to just, you know, live in an imaginary world because it's easier, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy getting uncomfortable, especially raw with yourself. Mm-hmm. And I feel like seeing my mother like that, I was like, I want better for us. I want to create that life for her and me and have the together family that I didn't have, you know? And yeah, and like I was brought up in abusively, like domestically abusive home. So I had a lot of fear hold me back, right? So that's when I got laid off, I realized I had that fear again because I was scared. Well, if I say this, maybe I have to shrink because someone else will get the promotion or whatever. Like I held back a lot, right? And then I realized that fear is always there. And this took work. Like I worked with mentors, right? That's why I always think it's really important, whether you read books, listen to podcasts, whatever way you get it, just get the dose you need. But it really allowed me to let go of the labels, to shed all the limitations and just fucking break through. Just be who you are and do it. And then that's when the Limitless Tigress was born. Like, because no tiger is the same. We can go deeper into that because I want you to ask me the questions you want. But and that's really how I grew up. So I always watched the hard work. But then I got all these mentors. I'm like, it's not. It's like, it is work. Don't get me wrong. It's not just like you sit there, think positive and, you know, focus a bit. And no, it's hard work combined with aligned action though. Mm-hmm. And it's that grit. It's that determination. It's that deep conviction within. Then you're unshakable. You're unstoppable because nobody can shake you because you know where you're going. It's like, that's the target. Let's get it. So laser focus, right?
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for getting vulnerable and sharing about your childhood.
You went a little bit deeper than I usually do, but no.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. I think it's important to see a strong woman like you who, I mean, you've hit a lot of things. Like you lost your job. You were a corporate success. You lost your job.
Yeah.
You were going through a divorce. Then you found the love of your life. You started a business. Now you have a child. I mean, those are insane life milestones.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate you describing the background because when I hear things like that, I automatically think, she probably hasn't had it easy.
Yeah.
Like immediately I think that. I'm like, wow, I wonder what her story is. So I do appreciate you sharing like little pieces of that. I'm sure there's so much more to those stories. But yeah, I want to dive into your business a little bit. And I want to understand when you think about your ideal client, like your perfect dreamy client and a transformation that she's had, because there are a lot of life coaches and mindset coaches that I don't think fully understand the depiction of what the transformation looks like. So when you think of a person that you've helped transform, what does that look like from start to finish? Where were they when they started and where were they when they finished work with you?
Yeah. So I'm just going to keep it simple and high level. They're all high achievers. So they're already women that are doing well. Like some women, when I started, I was like, why are you hiring me? I felt like they're better than me, you know? But it's not about that. And I feel like where they start is they're really great at what they do. They're just fully distracted. It's like they're everywhere. They're just like spread thin all over the place. But the biggest distraction of them all is this one, in their mind. In their mind. So it's not the external, it's not the people, not the business, it's not the company, it's their mind that's blocking them. So they're distracted by the noise, I call it, right? Mm-hmm. The chihuahua, the barking chihuahua. Because if you picture that, you got a great visual of like how distracted they are, right?
Yeah.
So then when I work with them using my Limitless Tigress methodology, there are 3 key principles: the calm, the playful, and the fierce. Okay? The calm is all about learning to stay quiet, walk away, not react. Calm. You are in your power. Playful is that inner child, the joy, filling your cup. It's really key to have that. And then fierce. So people think fierce. It is. Fierce is going in for the kill, laser focus, taking action, bold moves. But fierce is always also learning how to say no, how to walk away, because that's fierce energy as well. But when you think of the word fierce, it's like ferocious, in for the kill. Tiger, right? It's all like very big, bold things, right? But it's like in my world, fierce is those 2 sides of the coin, right? Wow. Knowing when to walk away, knowing when to accelerate and going, right? To get what you want. So with that, depending on where they're at, we integrate those principles and energies for them to truly know who they are. That's the foundation. You know, a lot of them come to me, I need this. No. Foundation's there. If you work with me, there's a process. We got to go through it. And it's always the foundation. Because that is what messes you up. Because you're taught one way when you're little, then you grow up into adulthood, you get shaped a different way, and you actually forget who you are. Yep. Right? Yep. And that is really important in everything you do in your personal and professional life, not just for your business. So we really work on that foundation so it's solid. And then we build the strategy, whether it's scaling, whether it's more self-confidence, whether it's more focus, whatever clarity, tools, and strategy they need. And they come out unstoppable. That's the end result. They unleash that tigress within. And the reason I chose a tiger is because a tiger kept showing up to me. And I'm intuitive, and I was just like, what is this tiger doing here? And that's when I was building my business. And that's how it happened. And I realized, like, I Googled it on the internet, no one tiger has the same stripes. I didn't know that. So just like a fingerprint. And right away, you know, my creative soul, I was like, oh, everyone's a unique individual. Oh my goodness. So it's Limitless Tigress.
I love it.
With your unique genius, with your stripes, which is your experience, your life, your breakthroughs, whatever. They make you who you are. So you're not to play small, to be ashamed of it. You're to grow and evolve. That's what life is about, if you choose to, right? Right. But my clients do. So that's how they come out. They come out as the freaking Limitless Tigress, unstoppable. They have full embodiment of who they are, and they lead with certainty. They lead with focus, aligned action. So they're actually taking things off their plate, not adding more. And they're saying no. They're not the yes woman. They understand that it's not supposed to be heavy. It's supposed to be in flow, and they're in power, and they're leading by example.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
When you're working with these high performing women, like these go-getters, these trailblazers, the powerhouse of the mix.
Yeah.
And you kind of give them the rendition of, I'm about to take everything that you have built up to this point, and we're going to run through applying a sense of calmness. We're going to give you that fierceness where you actually say no. And then we're also going to apply joy, and I want you to play more. Where do you find the powerhouse woman is most resistant out of the 3?
Playful.
I was going to guess that, actually. And what does it look like? Why do you think they're resistant to that? And what does it look like for most of these women to find play in their life?
Yeah. They feel guilty. They feel it's a weakness, because it's like, oh, if I just let go. Because playful, they see it as like, well, it's going to be careless. It's like, I can't do that. It's not about that. It's your inner child. Like, what brings you joy? So this may sound funny. Like, one of them, I was like, listen, you're a busy mom. So putting some lip gloss, like I like to put on makeup because it makes me feel good. Some perfume, like that scent, it doesn't have to be complicated. Like we overcomplicate things so much. So joy is that playful principle is the hardest, believe it or not, because they feel guilty or they just feel like, how do I let go? I need to be in control. This needs to be all aligned. It's like, just let go.
Yeah.
And then I show them, I'm like, just do this, let go. That's the action I do. And I'm like, every time you're just having a hard time, just let go. Because you have to let go. Because imagine how much tension, like if you hold your hands like this in tension, that's control. How long can you do it? Like it hurts. And when you do this, it feels so good, right? When you release.
Yes.
So just release. And then, it takes some work. But when we get there, they're like, oh my God, you were right. But that's the biggest one. That's the biggest struggle. And it's real. The struggle is real.
That's fascinating.
With the playful principle.
Yeah. That's crazy. And I'm so aligned with the like putting on lip gloss and dressing up like that.
Like it's simple things, but it brings you joy, right? Like we don't have to complicate it. And then you can add
and that
more.
is like, yeah, it's one of those things that even if you're not a girly girl, like putting on clothes that make you feel like you're embodying just a fun version of yourself is
like
so
whatever
important.
is your vibe, like do whatever.
Yeah.
But I get them to like tell me, they're just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're gonna figure it out.
For sure. I mean, that's why they hire you is for that support. But I also work with powerhouse women, and one thing that I find fascinating about your work is like I recognize through talking with you, like a lot of powerhouse women also struggle to laugh. Like we're so serious. Like we want to be powerhouse women. We want to be fierce and strong so that we become these people who are like uptight and like we can't just laugh and be silly because we might risk that people don't take us seriously.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how would you coach a woman who doesn't ever laugh? She's very serious. She means business. She stands on business. She is successful. People perk up when she talks. People sit up straight when she walks in the room, but she would be so much more vibrant and well-rounded and grounded if she laughed more. How do you coach that person?
Well, it's about magnetic energy, right? So it's like she's already powerful, like you said. So she's already getting things done. People look up to her. They look when she walks in the room. But I ask her, how do you feel? How do you feel fulfilled? How are you feeling? What are the thoughts that are going through your mind every day? Because that's the thing. That's the invisible mask, right? On the outside, it looks good. But her story, the internal is different. And I'm not going to go too into specifics because I always have that privacy factor too. But I would say, how are you feeling? And most of the time, the story is very different from what others see. Or she might be like, people see me as too intense and then I'm not approachable. Or so I'm like, how does that make you feel? Like that's a more specific example, right? So, and it's like, well, I don't like it. And then I feel like I'm a bitch, right? So it's like, but you're not. But it's like, oh, so what would a smile do, right? Because I was labeled all those things, but you don't allow those labels. I love your post. You had a post about that and I went crazy in the comments. Yeah. It's about like, you can still be intense. I'm an intense individual. I know I'm not a coach for everyone. And I'm very straight up with that. That's why I'm like, I'm the no BS, no fluff, limitless coach. I'm not the sugarcoating coach. However, I lead with love. I give you all my attention and dedication. It's all with love. Sometimes tough love, but but you have to be honest with yourself. That's the only way. So when they are, then they're like, oh my gosh, you were right. And then we talk a little bit about posture. How do they speak? What kind of language do they use when they communicate? Because sometimes it's very masculine, like get to the point. And then some people that are more sensitive, you got to learn to adjust and adapt to each individual style, right? Whether you're corporate, whether you're running your own business. Yeah. And that's where we get more into communication and things like that. So, foundation, mindset. And then depending, you asked me that specific question would be more about what brings you fulfillment? How are you feeling? How do you think others see you? And then body language, communication, and all of that.
Man, that's so good, Lydia. Like that is very important for women in this space to, like, they should all be hiring you because we need that attention. We're so strategy driven. We lean so much into the masculine energy. It's like we need someone, like what I'm hearing you say you do in your work is very mothering. It's very nurturing, but not to water it down because you mentioned the tough love piece. Well, I have a badass mom and I know for sure my mom gave me a lot of tough love. So it's like that sort of coaching is so necessary and so needed.
Yeah.
But I want to know in your business and where you're headed, what's your vision for what you want to do? Like, what is the next big scary risk you want to take? Where do you see your work going in the next, whether it's next month or the next few years? What does it look like for you?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. So for me right now, since I had my son, I had to, we have the same mentors. So I had to shift a lot of things and I had to create a lot of systems, and then it actually slowed down my momentum, talking about hygiene, because it's different. I had to shift a lot of things, and I have more done for you versus one-on-one. I have limited one-on-one now, whereas before my son, I had more one-on-one, right? So I had to shift some systems. So that's the key, just to continue to refine those systems for this year. And then down the road, I want to build more communities and do more speaking engagements. I want to be on more podcasts like this, just to get the message out there, because again, after my mat leave, I just had to rebuild everything kind of in a different way. Still great. So I just want to refine the systems that work well, because for me, it's all about limitless freedom. So I lead by example. So I don't want to coach someone and be like freaking out on the back end, right? So really those systems and everything, refining that, and then getting more into speaking engagements in any group, whether it's like globally, locally, just getting more into that. That's where I see the vision, and really expanding that limitless movement. And I want the limitless tigress method to be known worldwide. When people say my name, they're like, oh yeah, I know what that's all about. Yeah.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
well-known brand.
Definitely see you on stage with your poppin' lip color and your sparkly dress and your beautiful jewelry. I can totally see it. You're gonna kill it up there, and I am here for that day. I'm your biggest cheerleader.
Thank you.
I want to end with the final question that every guest gets asked. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this. What is the best content? I'm a content coach, so this is why this question was asked. What is your best content advice that you've received and acted on that has gotten you results, whether that's a monetary results or maybe you felt more confident in what you're posting? What is the best advice that you've gotten there?
Content advice on my content?
Yes.
The best, it's not advice, but feedback, is when people see me on video or live. That's been the best. So, reels and carousels, I forgot for a name what they're called. They're good and they get traction, but the best is live, because the feedback I got from the clients that have hired me, or people watch you and you don't even know, and then they come into your world, you're like, who are you? But they've been watching you. They said they get to know me more, because they can feel it in the message, but on video they can really feel it, see it, I guess, the expressions and who I am. And I'm just very like raw and blunt and honest, so I guess that shows through the video. And they're just like, your energy is magnetic, I just want to be around you just to pump up my energy, kind of thing. So that's been the feedback video. So whether it's like a short reel or a short content video or live, that's been the feedback that's connected the most individuals to me.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I study content. I was going to say like it's my job, but it actually is my job. And video content, like they call it talking head reels. Of course, I call it Chit Chat reels. Yeah. Those are like so in moving forward in 2025. People want to hear your voice. They need to feel your energy, and like this unspoken word that you present yourself with in those videos is super, super magnetizing. So what is when it comes to like doing a live, what's your strategy there? Are you going live when something's on your mind and you're like, I want to speak on this? Are you going live at a certain point of a launch? Are you going live when you need a one-on-one client space filled? Like, what does that look like for you? Or do you just not have a strategy there? You just do it when you want to?
Yeah, I actually switched my strategy. So I used to go live weekly. And like I said, with a child and family, that's just exhausting. So I'm not going to do that. I will increase my live videos because they do drive more traffic and attention, my message across. But lately I've just been going live for live launch. So I just had my masterclass on Tuesday, Activate Your Joy, exactly for that reason, because of the joy and for the high achievers. It's free masterclass. So I had that, so I did a live. So lately I've been doing lives only for launches and things like that. But I do them strategically. I don't just go off the cuff, because I have a very organized schedule in a way, because that's just how I run it, and it feels very aligned for me. So when I go live, it's strategic. I keep it short and sweet. There's no need for me to talk for an hour or longer just to get my point across. It's very punchy. You get the little dose of Limitless, whatever I'm sending, and that's it. So that's how I deliver my lives. So if someone's doing it, I would just say keep it simple. People are scared to go on camera a lot. I coach on that actually too. But you know what? Just do it and break the ice. because that fear, like public speaking is freaking scary for me. But when you slow down, get your thoughts on paper, like have a strategy. Don't just go off the cuff, because when you get nervous, you'll get tongue tied. You'll forget what you're saying. That's just normal, right?
Yeah.
If you already know that, prepare. That's all. But don't think too much about it. Just keep doing it, and practice does make perfect, because then you're going to get better.
Yeah, I will be definitely looking out for your Instagram lives, because I need to see the magic in real life, which I believe is very much there. So I'm so grateful for you taking the time to come on the show and just share your genius and your brilliance with us. Where can we find you, and where's the best place to connect with you?
The best place is Instagram at Limitless with Lydia, or my website, limitlesswithlydia.com. But I'm active, on LinkedIn, obviously, and Facebook, but I'm very active on Instagram. That's my little tool that I like. That's my social media I prefer, but I'm active on all of them, but IGs, you can connect the best there.
Okay, cool. I will drop the links to finding Lydia underneath in the description show notes. So you guys need to go follow her and just find your calm, joy, fierce inner tigress, because it's very important.
Yes.
And Lydia, again, thank you so much for your time. You're a beautiful human from the inside out, and I really appreciate your energy and everything that you're doing in the world, and I cannot wait to continue watching you shine.
Thank you so much for having me, Chandler. It was an honor.